So here we are on the Lulu website, and you can see along the top here, they have a list of things that you can check out. Today, I'm interested in the resources. So I already kind of know what products they have. I've looked into that. I've looked into their pricing and all these things. That's why I decided to use Lulu. But today I want to look at their resources to see if they have any help for me in getting started using their website. So the drop-down menu for resources says guides and templates, author toolkit, hire a pro, glossary of publishing terms, Lulu University, blog, and knowledge base. So I think the first thing that I'm interested in checking out is maybe the blog. Companies tend to use their blog to get out a lot of information. So let's just see what kind of their articles are coming up. So at the top of their blog, again, they have menus here: writing and editing, publishing, marketing, e-commerce, newsroom, better than yesterday. Not sure what that means. I don't think it's relevant. So we're interested, we don't need to write and edit. We're doing photo books, so we don't need to check that out, but probably publishing. We're not at the marketing area yet, so we'll click on publishing and see what kind of articles they have for us. So scrolling down, they have what font should I use for my book? That might be relevant for us when we get to the cover. 5 visual indicators your book is self-published, how to create and print a book for beginners. That looks like what we want. So, and as well as how to get started publishing. So these two articles both look like good places for us to start. So we'll click on these and we'll read, and most likely when we're reading these articles, there will probably be links either somewhere within the article or at the end of the article to point us in the next direction for us to take. So this is just a really great way to jump in and start absorbing a bunch of information and just kind of follow that trail and see where it takes you in regards to finding out the information on how to use their website. So scrolling down, it looks like it tells us a bit about book formatting, finishing the book. There's a video link. They talk about the format, things like the body of the text, the gutter, the margins, these kinds of things. They talk about page design, formatting tips. All of this stuff is pretty good to know. Some of it might not be relevant for us if it's specific to text and a written book, but as far as needing to know how to lay out your page and stuff, we are going to need to know that. So that's all really good. There's also other links that at the top, it's got a list of you also might like, just like I suspected. There's other things that we can go explore. So this is a really great place to start. I suggest that you grab yourself a notebook and start taking some notes on things. Some stuff you might just understand. Maybe you have experience with covers and fonts like I do because I've done book cover stuff so much. I kind of understand cover stuff. So I'm not really going to dive into any cover articles really deep, but that might be something that you guys might want to do. So you find what seems to call to you and what you feel like you need to read up on, and just take a ton of notes. If you look here, there's even an article that's called Creating Picture Perfect Photo Books. So that would definitely be relevant for us to check out. So this is great. It kind of starts out where I started with my last video, talking about what exactly our goals are for our book. All of those things are relevant to how and why we print the book. So this will also give you an idea of, what kind of goal you want. It's got a link to their book pricing calculator and all of these things. So this is a really great article for us. This is great. It also goes into make sure your photo files are formatted for print. So we're going to have to look at this and make sure that our photos are ready for print. What exactly does that mean? And then once we have taken our notes and we know what our photos have to be formatted like, we can then go back to our images and format them to the appropriate whatevers for our book. So if in my example, because I've already got ahead and done all this stuff, I learned that with my black and white photos, my files should be in grayscale, and they originally weren't. I still had them in like RGB or something. So when I went to format my images to put into this book, I converted all of my images to grayscale because my images are black and white. So It's only because my images are black and white. If you have color photos, don't do that. But that's something I wouldn't have thought of if I hadn't spent time looking around on the Lulu website and come across that information. It also talks about things like your dots per inch and resolution and all of these things. So take a look at that. Take a look at what you have that you're wanting to put into your book, and make sure that you have formatted your images appropriately to print them. It goes on to discuss the margins, the layout. I love Lulu because it does have templates for its books. So as soon as you decide which format of a book you want, like for example, I wanted the square, I wanted the large square, and then I just go and find the large square template. So they have an example of a template in this article. They're giving you examples of everything that you're going to have to go through and decide and pick and choose. So this is such a great article that I think I'm going to link it directly into the description of this video, because I would say this is the most perfect place for you to start if you're wanting to publish a photo book with Lulu. So down at the bottom of that article, if you haven't already, it will give you a link to sign up and create an account with Lulu. I already have an account, so I'm not going to be able to share that with you. But if we sign in, then we're going to have more options as far as looking at our own dashboard and stuff like that. So if you're sure that you're going to move ahead with Lulu after checking out their resources, now's a great time to create your account. Okay, we're all signed in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to get started on your project, and you can do this right from their homepage. And we just scroll down to where it says get started on the publish or print a book. That's what we want to do. As we scroll down here, there's the option to get started, just start your project. Or if we go down further, we have a list of projects that we might be looking at. So it says print books, photo books, notebooks, etc. We're looking at doing the photo book. So we're going to click on plan your photo book. And as we scroll down, we also find more information on the format that we have available to us for photo books. We have US letter landscape, square, small landscape, and underneath there's some of the most popular format options listed for each of the books. Now, before I click on anything, I like to just scroll all the way down and see if there's anything else. Okay, learning resources, we already checked that out. Getting started, create an account, we've done that. Now, this is something that I did do and I absolutely highly recommend it. There is this section here that says Design Guide Bundle. You select your photo book size and download the design bundle with everything you need to get started. It includes our book creation guide and templates for InDesign and Photoshop. Now this is awesome. I did do that with mine and I printed it because even though you can look at it online, once you get started creating your book, it's kind of a pain in the butt to be hopping back and forth between different web pages, open this, open that, just to check the information. So I liked having my web page open while I started to get to work, and then had this handy reference to look at on the side. However, if you don't have a printer, you can as well look at this online while you're working. I just highly recommend that you print it out if you can. The other thing that I did, because not all of this is going to be relevant for you, I did just grab a scrap piece of paper. I read through this first completely before getting started, and I wrote down any notes that I felt were particularly relevant to me. So I highly recommend you do that so that you're not getting confused once you get started with your project. You're already going to have your options and what you've picked laid out for you, and all the information that you need as far as like I've got my notes here that I need to change it to grayscale. I've got bleed margin information based on the amount of pages and all these things. And Lulu will give you that information based on the info that you type in. So I selected that I wanted a square. I selected that I wanted the large square, for example, and then you download that based on what you choose, and it will give you specific information for the book that you're creating. So I can't link you my exact design book unless that was, you know, exactly what you were planning on doing as well, as a square format, black and white, blah, blah, blah. It's not necessarily going to be particularly relevant. But underneath this page on the photo books, once you scroll down and you see that design guide bundle, do it. do it. And then you will definitely have specific information for the book that you are creating. I do want to note that while this says it's going to give you templates for InDesign and Photoshop, don't freak out if you don't have InDesign and Photoshop. I don't have InDesign either. I did use Photoshop for my cover, but I think that I initially created it in maybe Canva or something. So while these, are listed as programs to use, there's other alternatives, and I'm going to get into that in future videos. I did not want to pay for a program that I'm going to use one time. Like I said before, I don't want to do a subscription for something. I just plan on making one book. I'm not doing this a whole bunch. So I'm not going to get InDesign for one book. If you want to do that or you already have InDesign, cool. It might be easier for you, but there are other free options out there. And so don't feel discouraged by seeing that right off the bat. There's always going to be alternative programs to use for stuff. So ignore that, but you can still use the templates. So keep that in mind. So while this video might be short and sweet, I actually gave you a whole bunch of homework to do, lots of looking around in the resources, lots of information to browse through, notes to take, preparation to do, and I'm going to leave you with that. We're not going to move further with this today. I'm going to move ahead with the creation of the book in future videos, and you can follow along then. But until that video comes out, please take a look at the resources. Please take some notes, figure out what it is you want to do, maybe even get your image files formatted and ready to go for when we start designing this book. I hope that this was helpful. I'm really excited to be creating a book with you guys. Thanks for watching along. If you haven't already checked out my first video, which talks about choosing which publisher and what you're looking for and kind of defining your goals and creating your photo book, I highly recommend that you check that out now. I am doing a step-by-step video series of creating this photo book, so follow along with me. I can't wait to see what books you guys come up with, and I'll see you in the next one.